Welcome to Get Your Bliss Dismissed. Today you have your host, Cayetana, and today we have a very special person who is very important to the art world, and today we're so lucky to have her. And this is Barbara Lash.
Hello, and it's a thrill to be here with you. I am Professor Barbara Lash. I teach art history at the Northern Virginia Community College, and I have for 32 years, going on 33 years. Um, let's see, I am also the department. They actually call it, yeah, they do call it department chair. They keep changing the name. Department chair for art studio, art history, music, and world languages. So I'm in charge of scheduling and all of that for those disciplines, which is a joy.
I didn't know there were so many.
Oh, there's many, yes. Well, the humanities, we spread out quite a bit, and the language arts and social sciences, there's quite a few wonderful social sciences out there as well with, history and psychology and religion, all of those things. So that's all under the umbrella of the LAS, they call it, Language Arts and Social Sciences at NOVA.
Well, today is a very special day. We're going to be talking about so many influential art history and, like she said, humanities. And very thrilled about this. So get ready. I've had the privilege to go to classes with Dr. Barbara Lash. She was my art history professor and learned a lot. So that takes me to a question. How long have you been teaching? I think you already mentioned, but let me ask you.
Yeah, 32 years at the Manassas campus of Northern Virginia Community College. So I'm going into my 33rd year.
That's quite a lot.
I agree.
Out of all those years, do you have a specific topic or time period to teach about?
Oh, it's like asking which child is your favorite. You're not supposed to say it out loud. But I love my 102 class. It's the Renaissance through modern art. So I love teaching that class. And I've been lucky enough to teach many different classes in the past, museum studies, and, it was good. Can't teach that anymore. They want us to stick to just the survey courses, whatever. But, and the history of stone carving classes and things like that. So been very lucky.
Yeah. Why do you think teaching museum studies or the Renaissance is so important?
Well, I especially think museums are important, and the study of museums is important because usually in every city, every country, they put their best in museums. So if you really want to know a culture, you need to know everything about it: the music, the dance, especially the food, especially the food. The food, I will say it was delicious. That tells you a lot about the culture. But the art also, it's amazing to see how the art of the country and the time period is reflected in what they put into their museums, because museums usually put in the best of the best.
Right. The most culturally influential stuff. Right. Have you ever been interviewed by a student before in this type of scenario?
Not as a podcast. Okay. This is the first. I've had students ask me questions especially for communications classes, because those professors usually ask, talk to somebody and, figure out what's going on, and then they have to get up and present. So I've done that, but you are the first one to put me on tape, on video, and perhaps around the world. It's a very scary process.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to be educating some people on some stuff that they need to know.
I hope so.
Yeah. I would love to know the origins of your passion for art history. So I did know that your original major was not art history.
That is correct.
Can you tell me about that?
I didn't even know the discipline existed when I went to college. I went as an art studio major. My mother was an artist, and so I was surrounded by art my entire life, and I could see who producing, and so I took a lot of art classes throughout high school, and I thought, I'll be an artist. Then I got to college and started taking art classes there. And I have to, all art studio people have to take art history, okay? Art history people have to take a studio course. You just really need to know how to do everything. So I was taking an art history course, and the professor was a curator from the Philadelphia Museum of Fine Arts. And the first class, he changed my life. I was, first of all, I didn't know this discipline existed, was told I had to take it, so I signed up for it. He was magnificent. He basically, when I finished taking his first class and thought, I enjoy studying the history of art versus being criticized for my studio art, which my studio teacher was doing. So I thought, why? I don't want to be criticized for that. I'd rather study. So it changed my major, changed my life for the better. I have never regretted going into art history.
Did you know you were gonna be a professor then?
Okay. When I got my bachelor's, I thought I'm immediately going to go get my master's. So I did my bachelor's, then I did my master's, and I thought I wanted to work in museums. So my master's was in art history and museology. They used to call museum studies museology. Okay. So, anyways, that was years ago. So I got my master's in that and thought I'm going to work in museums. So I'm, sending resumes around to different museums, and I really didn't see anything I liked. Well, anything that I thought I would enjoy.
Do your whole life?
Well, it was more because I was in upstate New York. It was more like small historical museums, which is very nice. I love them. I've been working in historical museums as a volunteer or a docent since I was in fifth grade. So I always knew I wanted that aspect of my life. I love being surrounded by art and beautiful objects. So, they have.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. They have them in museums. So, I started working in art galleries because I couldn't get a job in something I thought I wanted. So we moved. My husband and I moved to Montreal, and I started working in an art gallery. And so it's the business end of it, and it's fine. It's great. I enjoyed it. I was working with artists and doing things in that field in Montreal, so it was very exciting. And eventually, never thought of being a teacher. Never, ever thought I'm just going to work in museums. I'm going to be brilliant. They'll call me one day and say, yes, we want you as the director of the Metropolitan Museum. I mean, I was just expecting that knock at the door any minute. It never came. So when we moved to Wisconsin, and I volunteered in an art program going into schools. So it's a lecturer going into school, elementary schools. So I did that, and I enjoyed teaching. And then we moved again. My husband's an engineer, so there was a lot of moving. Moved to the Ohio area. I volunteered my time again in the Akron Museum. And again, they put me in the lecture circuit. So
They realized you were good.
I think I talk a lot. And I think they recognize that. So I did that. I was lecturing different schools in different areas around Ohio, the Akron area. And that was very nice. And then we moved again to Washington, D.C. And at that point, I had two small children. And so I just volunteered again, doing different things for Fairfax County. I was in the PTA. I was in the county council of PTAs. I was the art liaison for the county for the arts thing. So I was just constantly getting my foot in the door with different arts organizations. And that's key, is networking. And eventually it led to a position that opened up at the Manassas campus to teach out there. And I'd been teaching. I did substitute teaching at Fairfax County Schools. So I thought, okay, let me see. And someone I knew on one of the arts councils that I sat on was actually a professor at the Annandale campus. And I called and I said, what do you think? They're looking for someone.
Hook me up.
Yeah, I basically did. I said, what do you think? Should I put my application in? And he said, definitely. And tell the dean, and he gave me the dean's name. He's no longer with us. Still alive, but no longer at the campus. And he said, we're all getting older. And and so I said, this professor recommended that I contact you. And he said, send me your resume. So mentioning someone's name got me in the door. And I gave him a resume. I went out and interviewed with him. And they called me a few weeks later saying that someone had dropped out at the last minute and could I start teaching in 4 days. I said yes. It was tough.
Very risky.
It was very risky, and it was a 102 class, so it was a 6 week class, a summer class. So it was a tight class, but I was always one step ahead of the students, and didn't breathe much during that time. Didn't eat much either. So I was just trying to get my lectures together. But after you lecture a class 3 times, you got it. You don't, yes. So in the beginning, I'm just looking at my notes the entire time, and thinking I need to tell them everything. As you go along teaching, you realize you don't have to tell them everything. You tell them the highlights. And those who are majoring in art history, such as yourself, know survey courses skim the surface, and then you delve in with each class for a semester in Egyptian, for Roman, for Greek. There's a semester for each chapter that we cover in the survey courses.
I would love to do that.
I would love you to do that.
All right. I have to ask you, what inspires you to teach?
My students.
Okay.
Yeah. Students like you. Students who ask questions. Students who I know what I'm going to say, and I watch particular students like yourself to see how you react. So your reactions were perfect, always spot on when I would say particular things. Because again, I know what I'm going to say, and I know what the reaction should be. Yeah, you react perfectly. You inspire me. So every time I think, oh boy, I can't do this anymore. No, I have students who love the arts, who they say it's changed their lives, which is what I want to do. I want to change lives. I want people to know about this subject, identify with this subject, that this is their world. Notice what's going on around you, and hopefully change the perspective of many people. Yeah. So I do try to have a very stress-free class so students will take it, not be afraid of seeing a huge textbook and thinking they have to memorize. You don't have to memorize anymore. That was my era. Your era, you can find it in a second and a half on your phone, but mine, you have to actually remember things. So let's just say good memories.
Your class was it was stress-free, and I think it encourages people to actually like art history. And yeah, I do agree that it's a very important subject. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is why I teach, because you recognize that.
I try to inspire other people too.
I appreciate that. So maybe you need to be a professor as well.
Maybe, I don't know. I know we are both advocates for art history, liberal arts, and humanities. So what would you say to those who disagree or just simply don't find interest for it?
I think they're being short-sighted, pun intended, that they do need to widen their perspective. Another pun there, but yes, they really do need to look around them and realize that art is everywhere. It's in the clothes you wear, it's the car you drive, it's the shoes you put on, it's your watch, it's the computer, it's the mic that you're holding. Everything has to be designed. So people who don't think they are artists, if they're engineers, they're artists. Architects, they're artists. Yeah. They're all artists. So I think they just need to realize this. It's getting the automotive people into my class. If I can get anyone from automotive into my class, I know I've succeeded.
That would be fun.
I've had a couple. So I always try to make references of there are art installations called the Cadillac Stonehenge, where it's the image of Stonehenge, which is in southern England, as Cadillacs. So the Cadillacs are there in the same line as Stonehenge. And so I always say, you see, you never know where you're going to find art, and it's there. And one of the finest art exhibits I ever saw was in Atlanta. They had an exhibit of classical cars, and I went from one classical car to another classical car, and they were all stunning. absolutely stunning. And they were all works of art. And they didn't have to just be the Bugattis or the Lamborghinis or the Ferraris or whatever. I mean, they were the Corvettes, the earliest Corvette. And I mean, Rolls Royce, they were just stunningly beautiful, beautifully designed cars as well.
Cars are beautiful.
So I try to meet students where they live, which is why I ask students in the beginning, what's your major? So if someone tells me a particular thing, I try to bring that into the subject because art history taps on every subject.
Yeah, I remember in 102 you had a architect student, and I noticed you were talking so much about the details about such structures and things that would interest them, and that was really appreciated.
Well, I try.
Yeah.
I try very hard because I want to reach everyone. I did a presentation once because I was asked to do it for the faculty. They asked if I would do a presentation at what we call convocation, which is the startup of a semester in front of the faculty. So I said, fine, I'll do it. Art history. So I went through every major that we had or every discipline that we teach on our campus, and then I found an image that went with that discipline. So I basically, at the end, after talking too long, as I'm known to do, I basically said, so I talk about all your disciplines during my art history lectures. Do you ever talk about art history or any of the other disciplines in yours? And at that point, I said if I had a mic, I'd drop it. But anyway, and that was my presentation. I try to bring up every discipline so everyone realizes that this is important no matter what they are studying. They can identify with art history.
That's why I think the liberal arts major is so important, because you get to learn about everything, and it's really a free field that expands your brain and yourself, and it makes you learn about life in the society that we have. So what would you say to a liberal arts student that's going to Nova or a school in Northern Virginia?
Continue. You need to continue. The liberal arts give you great critical thinking skills, which is important because in this day and age where you have to think critically, you get all this information on a variety of different platforms. What is real? What isn't real? And you need to be able to be critical about what you're hearing and to discern whether it's true or not. So, yes, I would highly recommend liberal arts to everyone. And I know there are opportunities out there for careers in the liberal arts. And at this point, Nova is one of 3 community colleges in the United States who have received a grant from the Mandel Foundation. And for 3 years, hoping it's going to be 4th year, we are examining how to get liberal arts students into their careers through internships, because internships are huge. And there's many internships in the STEM side of things. I don't even like using the word STEM because that's limiting it. You take the out of the that, and art is involved in everything. So I like to say STEAM. So they need to emphasize more the A there in STEAM. But the Mandel Foundation has they're getting students involved in paid internships. So we would love to have more students involved in these internships. You can do them at home. It's for like 20 hours a week. You get, I believe it's like $18, $19, $20 an hour. And you work for a variety of different corporations. And you don't have to find them. The Mandel people find them, and we do have someone on our campus who's the director of this program. Her name is Nicole Evans, and she will help you step by step how to get into this and how to find internships, paid internships, and that can lead to careers in these different businesses. A lot of times it might be for, like, say, an English major. It could be writing up a brochure or writing press releases. For an art major, it could be designing brochures. For an art historian, it could be working for a certain corporation doing research, because, art historians are considered the scholars of the art world. I'll say that again. Art historians are known as the scholars of the art world.
That is true.
Yeah, it is very true. We love to dig deep in research, and there's always new things to find, which is why it's never a dead subject. They're always finding something new. So I highly recommend students getting involved with the Mandel Foundation, getting involved with your professors to look for different grant opportunities, different internships, because your professors know things and they know people. But we can't read your minds. You need to tell us what you're interested in.
You need to ask questions.
Yes, like you used to do all the time. This year, I do have 2 students from my class, couple of my classes, who have internships at the Smithsonian.
That's amazing. That's great.
It seriously is. I had 2 this semester for the summer, paid internships.
It's a great opportunity.
It is.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
But yeah, the Mandel, I actually found out about the Mandel through Barbara Lash, and there's a lot of classes that you don't know are involved with it. Usually in the Canvas, there's a module that says Mandel Project, or it's on your syllabus, and you can easily sign up and make your account, and they will email you internship opportunities. You decide if you want to take it or not, but it's always good to have that account on the side. So yeah.
Yes. And you can always contact me, because I will hook you up, as you'd like to say. Yes. I will hook you up with the right people, because professors want to help. Everybody wants to help. We want all our students to succeed, and I don't want you just to succeed. That's not good enough. I want you to soar. So when you get all those trophies and all those awards and the Nobel Prize and everything you need, the Pulitzer, whatever you get, I want you to come back and say, and I got my start at Nova. You don't have to mention my name. You can imply it if you'd like, but you don't have to mention it. But just, you got your start here. And we're very proud of our students. Our students just do magnificent things.
Going back to our history, there's a saying in social media. I already kind of tried to explain, but for example, if I'm thinking of something a lot or something that I think of every day, we say, this is my Roman Empire. Or like, for example, this song that I think about every day is my Roman Empire. So what would you say is your Roman Empire?
Well, to me, just bringing up the Roman Empire brings up a vast subject, since there's so much in our history talking about the Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire is the Roman Empire.
It is the Roman Empire, which everyone's trying to replicate, and they can't, because, yes, those days are gone. But for something that was monumental, that changed everything for me, I have to go back to that freshman year in college, when this curator from the Philadelphia Museum was teaching my art history class, and he actually did a demonstration. He put up a piece of paper, and he painted with tempera the Botticelli's Birth of Venus. He did the face of the head of...
In class?
In class. Now, you've never seen me do that. I do not have that skill. But he made the paint, he made the pigment, because the pigment that Botticelli used was egg tempera. He used egg yolk as his binder for his pigment. And he did that in class. I was floored and thought, I want to be that. I would like to do that. It's been decades. I have never been able to do that, nor have I had the courage to try to do that. And I think that's another important thing. You have to have courage. And I do not have the courage to do that.
Yeah, painting is it feels like a responsibility to your canvas. That's why I think I also moved on from the visual arts, because I feel such a pressure of making everything so perfect. And a painting like Botticelli's Birth of Venus, it's too perfect.
It's something I still think of. That man.
Your Roman Empire.
That it's my Roman Empire. Could also be the entire Greek chapter as well. I mean, and the Renaissance. I mean, that really it changed my life.
Speaking of the Renaissance, I would say my Roman Empire is when you told us about something when they would study anatomy and everything, that they would steal the corpses and dissect them and everything. I think about that all the time.
again, trying to reach my medical students, just so they know that Leonardo da Vinci was the first one to come up with an anatomy book. Before Gray's Anatomy, it was Leonardo da Vinci's text that they used as anatomy, because he, as a scientist, as a Renaissance man, did it all, which is why art and science go together. It separated during the Industrial Revolution, when they decided the art should be over here and the science is over here. It was always one and together. And then Industrial Revolution.
Because they would do like they were like pupils of something, of somebody else,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. They are the apprentice. They were apprenticing under different master artists, and Leonardo was under Verrocchio. Got that one right.
Yeah. So I'm aware that AI is becoming a revolutionary subject in this time period. So if you were to compare our daily today, this era, to another time period from the past, what would it be?
Well, surprisingly, it would be the Impressionists, because up until that point, artists were maybe sketching outside, but going back to their studios, mixing their pigment with oil, so then they could paint. Starts oil paint is in tubes. So all of a sudden, they can go outside and paint. So that changed everything, and it brought us what is known as plein air, which means painting outside. And one of the reasons the artists were painting as freely as they were is because of another technology that was going on: photography. The Impressionist artists, or the artists during the 1860s, were so concerned that this newfangled idea of art, photographs, were going to basically take them out.
Erase it.
Yeah, erase their importance. So they needed to change how they were doing their art, because of photography they had nothing to worry about, but they didn't know that. And it changes everything. And this is important. So as tricky as AI is now, it's something that artists will work through and figure out how to use it to the best advantages. Even in the early 20th century, when Picasso and Braque start doing collages, it's the first time they were taking things, cutting things out, and taping the newspaper or a photograph or something and putting it right on canvas. That blew everyone's minds. No one had ever done that. Today, we think nothing of it. We think nothing of it, of taking a tube of paint and...
Everything is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
So-
got used to it.
It's adapting, and it's great. It's why art keeps evolving. It is magnificent. Otherwise, we'd still be in caves putting handprints up on walls. I love it. I'm just seeing where this is going to take us and how we can use it properly.
What would you say to somebody who feels discouraged, like an artist that feels discouraged of their work because of AI?
Hang in there. You're going to figure it out, just like the Impressionists did. You're going to have to come up with a way of using it to your advantage, because there are ways of using it correctly. And there's going to be so many people using it incorrectly that if you do figure out how to harness this, you're just going to excel.
What is your favorite part about being an art historian?
The idea that every day I'm going to learn something new. There are new discoveries constantly, and it's something that I look forward to, getting up every day thinking, what am I going to find out today? What didn't I know yesterday? What have they discovered? And
Every day?
every day, every day, it makes the subject very alive, and makes my life very alive as well, because it's not a dead subject.
I love that in our history, you can always circle back to references from the past, to what you learn nowadays and stuff. Like one day in your class, we once were talking about the Critias boy, and I loved seeing that reference after taking 102, where I learned about Michelangelo's David and the Contrapasso, the revival of the nude, and everything. So seeing the original was heartwarming for me.
That's why you're going to be an art historian, because your heart can warm with talk about things like this.
Yeah.
Yes. And from here, you have to go to Athens and see the Critias boy. You have to go to Florence and you have to see Michelangelo's David. You have to do these things because as much as you're seeing up on the screen that I'm showing, it is nothing like seeing it in what they say in situ, which means in person.
The original David is in Florence and the
Yes.
copy is in Rome.
No, the original is in Florence in a museum they call the Academy because it's actually a school for sculpture, and you can still go there and learn how to sculpt. You see many of Michelangelo's unfinished works; most of them were unfinished. The fake one is was put outside of the Palazzo Vecchio in 1830s to take the original into the museum, just down around the block a little bit, and then they put up the fake one. So it's exactly the same, but it's not Michelangelo.
It's not made by him.
No, no. It was, more than 300 years later that they decided that. After 300 years of having different pigeons come on, and they decided that needed to go into a museum. And they're right. So Florence is a magnificent city. I want you to go and enjoy. I want you to enjoy the entire world. And because you're nice and young, you can do that. You go every place while your knees are still good. And I know that's a crazy thing to say, but your knees, after a while, your knees don't want to climb up all those stairs going up into the dome, or say the Florence Dome, or St. Peter's, or St. Paul's, or whatever the dome is. I want you in every dome, because you can see how they built these things. And I want you to explore it all. So you need to have the stamina to do that.
Would you be willing to be interviewed again once I progress these interviews and just get the production better? Would you be willing to do that?
Of course. I never say no to students who are as invested in the subject as I am, because you are rare indeed.
Thank you. I really appreciate you here.
Well, thank you very much for giving my life's passion some sort of extension, because you are taking what I love and you're going to be expanding it even further into a broader audience. So I
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. This is Barbara Lash, and I hope you guys learned something. Keep on watching. We're still progressing, and yeah, this is Bliss Dismissed. Thank you for watching.